Good morning. It's just after 8:30. It is Sunday morning. Hello, DK Phillips. Welcome. It's just after 8:30. It's Sunday morning. I am Ron. So that must mean that it's Sunday morning, live with Ron. What we do here every Sunday morning is I'll show you some new pictures that are going into my gallery this week, next couple weeks. They'll go in this week, but they'll be featured on my posts for the next couple weeks. And then we're going to do a lesson, a photography lesson on improving your photography. We're in the middle of a session on composition right now. So we'll have 2 more composition techniques today. Those will be kind of fun. And then I will demonstrate those composition techniques out in my backyard on my very own equipment so that you can see what it looks like to do that with a camera. All right. So just to let you know, I did not move. This is a shot that I took at Land's End observation area yesterday when I was in San Francisco. And so that's what that is. That's not my backyard. When I get out there to demonstrate, it will be my backyard. Same old backyard. So that's what we're going to do. We've got just a couple of announcements on the board. We'll go over those at some point. So without much further ado, first off, if you're on Facebook or Instagram or watching the replay, welcome, and do say hello in the comments. I can see all of the comments from Facebook and YouTube and Instagram on all of my technologies here. So welcome, welcome. But let's jump right in, and I'm going to show you the new photos that are going into my gallery. This first one is called Hooray. Again, this is one that I took just yesterday. I took a seminar put on by San Francisco Photography Group. Excellent instructor, Brian Shapiro, that was on street photography. And we started off in Union Square. So this is the statue of Nike celebrating us steaming into Manila Bay in the Philippines and blowing up the Spaniards. I don't know where the Filipinos were when all this happened, but this is called Hooray. And again, it's from Union Square in San Francisco. The next piece is called, let's get rid of him. This is called Candelabra Aloe, because that's what that plant is called. It's actually an aloe plant that makes a flower that looks like a red hot poker flower that I'm aware of. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome. So this I took in Concord. There's a little plaza off of Todos Santos Square that has a fountain and some flowers and all kinds of interesting stuff. And I took this picture there. It didn't take much manipulation on this one. This one was such a vivid picture anyway, with the yellow wall and then the candelabra aloe poking up through it. So that's our second picture, called simply Candelabra Aloe. Our third picture is called Cattails. Can you tell that I was like naming things very early in the morning? There's like no clever names today. This was taken in Martinez, down at a little park called Pickleweed Trail in Martinez. It was taken last August on a brief hike that I went on. It was one of my favorite hikes because I have these applications on my phone that I can look at and plan hikes on. And I picked this particular hike because the total elevation change for this entire hike was 12 feet. Now, usually you see hikes that are like total elevation change 1,762 feet. It's like, no, this was 12 feet. So this was one of my favorite hikes of the year. It's right along the water in Martinez. Just look up Pickleweed Trail. It's a fun spot. Interesting place. And our last one is called light globes. Yeah, light globes. Okay. This was from another course I took from San Francisco Photography Group called Shooting Lights at Night. This is a art installation in Golden Gate Park, in Peacock Meadows in Golden Gate Park, that may still be there. If it's still there, please go see it. It's a marvelous thing. I'm going to start recording down here because it's all these wonderful lights, and they have like these tree things and these shrub things, and they keep changing colors pretty much continuously. There's one small gap every 12 minutes or something. The installation is called Entwined. It's in Peacock Meadow, obviously after dark. I really hope it's still there because I want to get there some evening again. The evening I was there, I could not actually get out amongst them. It had been raining, so they wouldn't let us out. But normally you can walk like right underneath these tree things. So those are the four pieces. Once again, hooray, candelabra aloe, cattails, and globes of light, or light globes. I forget what I called that one, but you'll see it. You'll see it. It will be up on my site tomorrow. What site, you may ask? Why, that would be this site here, Ron Alcott Photography. That's my site. Oh no, it looks like I froze. That's not good. Well, I hope some of you are seeing me unfrozen. We have an Anton joined. I think I may have a very slow network today. Let me stop that. See if that helps. I apologize. We seem to have technology problems today. We're getting closer. I see it jumping back and forth. There, it still changes. Yeah, that's maybe on my computer. So there. Looks like we're caught up now. Yay, we're running alive. Hey, that looks weird. Hey. So we saw the pictures. That's number one. Okay, we're going to do our lesson, number 2, and then we're going to demonstrate, number 3. So I did have a couple of announcements. One, we have made it to the 8th of the month. So if you have not signed up for this month's drawing, then be sure you go to the website. There it is, ronalcottphotography.com. Go to that website and you'll see a link to sign up for our free monthly drawing. And that will happen on April 1st, April Fool's Day at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be doing that live so that there's no doubt that I'm actually doing a random drawing rather than picking somebody. Okay. If you ever read a contest and it says a winner will be chosen, okay, that's always suspect. Chosen winners have a tendency to be somebody that's like purchased a lot lately. So we do our drawings live. It's pure random of all of the entries. If you're already on the email list, you don't have to enter again. You're still on the drawing. Last month, I think we had 820 some odd names on the drawing. So get in. Okay, every month you wait, the list gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We had a lot of entries this month. So I expect we're going to be up somewhere maybe close to 900 or maybe over 900. So enter early, get on that email list. You have to stay on the email list. Don't sign up and then immediately unsubscribe from the email list the first time I send you a weekly newsletter. Okay? You got to be on the email list to be eligible for the drawing. Those are the rules. I know. I made them up myself. So, that's the rules. What can I tell you? So that drawing, usually I have that here to show you. But I didn't get that organized. It's still in my other office. I had some technical problems that stopped me from making an extra trip over there to get it. But it's called Wall of Green. It's beautiful. And take a look at it and enter to win it. And when you win, it's included with a signature and a dedication on the back, and postage is included. It's not one of those things where you won, just send us $7.95 for shipping and handling. No, you won. You won. Hey, winning is a good thing. Okay? If you get a chance to win, then you should win. That's my theory. And I'm sticking to it. So, what is next? What else have we got? 2 weeks from today, I will be doing this again. And there will be announcement at that time, because that's going to be a special event. That will be the 1 year anniversary of Sunday Morning Live with Ron. I started doing these things last April, mostly because I was locked up at home and I was already talking to myself. So I figured, what the heck? I'll talk to myself on the internet and maybe somebody will watch. And every once in a while, somebody does. So that's what we're doing next time in 2 weeks. Okay, but that will then be in April. So April 1st, we're doing our live drawing, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Okay, look for the announcements of that. And April, what's it going to be? Come on. April 11th will be my 1 year anniversary of Sunday Morning Live with Ron. So join me for that. We will have a gala. Maybe I'll get a cake. Not likely, but maybe I will. And so those are coming up. Coming up later today, I will be in downtown Oakland filming people or photographing people who are protesting. The outfit is called solidarity.com. If you go to their website, you can see the details, but we're shooting one thing at 1 o'clock in the Center for Peace, and another thing at 2 o'clock in Chinatown, Oakland, Chinatown. So I'm going to be shooting pictures of the people who are shooting these protest pictures. Okay. And it's a protest to end racial violence. So it's a good cause. So I'll be going down there and doing that after I finish up here, talking to you. Not that you're here. Oh, look, somebody is here. Welcome, welcome, whoever joined on Facebook. Oh, scared them away. It's like as soon as you know I can see you, you run away. But I can't actually see you. I can just see that you're here. So don't run away. Please. I'm a gentleman. I very rarely bite unless you ask nicely. So that's all of the happenings that are going on right now. With all of that out of the way, let us move on to our lessons. Now, we've been talking for the past few episodes about composition techniques. And we're using as our source this article from Petapixel. So I don't have that. There it is. Yeah, it says Petapixel right there. Okay. Not playing well over here, but it says Petapixel somewhere up there. Oh, I just can't see it because it's behind my prompt things where I can see who joined. Not who joined, but that someone joined. Petapixel. Okay, in their blog, they have an entry called 20 Composition Techniques that will improve your photos by Barry O'Carroll. Thank you, Barry. I don't have any rights to this or any of these pictures. So I am simply telling you what Barry has said. The techniques we've looked at previously, we've talked about the rule of thirds. That's the first one you learn. All right, so go, if you don't understand it, go back and learn about it some more. Just look up rule of thirds. We've talked about centering and symmetry. Okay. We've talked about using the foreground to add interest and depth. Okay. We've talked about framing. Okay. Like that. We talked about leading lines. My internet is really slow today. I apologize. So this is a great example of leading lines, converging lines leading up somewhere. Okay. And S-curves are even more interesting form of leading lines. We talked about diagonals and triangles. For some reason, the human brain just likes triangles. We see them as arrows that point things out. Okay. And converging leading lines make triangles. These things all play into each other if you start paying attention to them. If you have leading lines and they're in perspective and they lead off into the distance, that makes a triangle. Just like this guy here, or this guy here, or this guy here, or this guy here. That one, that's an actual triangle. All right. We talked about patterns and textures, which will be coming up in a second. Okay. Here he's used the pattern of the floor and framing. Okay. This one, you've got the patterns of the plaza, which actually form leading lines. Okay. You've got the patterns of the arches. Okay. And you've got the geometric shape of the dome. I like that picture. It's an interesting picture. I really like that one. Okay. And we talked about the rule of odds. Okay. That your brain wants to see things in odd numbers. Okay. Here we have 1, 2, 3 arches. We have 3 people. We have 3 windows. Okay. But you can also, your brain will resolve and pick 1 if there's an odd number. Okay. If there's an even number, your brain doesn't do so well. Okay. So here, he actually uses the rule of odds by breaking it. By having these 2 gondoliers, this is from Venice, Italy, he manages, because he has an even number, your attention goes back and forth between the 2, and you get a real feel for the conversation that they're having. But now we're on to today's lessons. Okay. The first one is filling the frame. This is one that before I started studying photography, I did a very bad job of filling the frame. My ex-wife used to holler at me all of the time because I would have her as a little tiny speck against nothing, and you could barely see her face. So if something is very, very important in your picture, if it is the primary subject, then you go ahead and fill the entire frame with that. Okay, like the lion, like Notre Dame. Okay, we can see that here, these are obviously the subjects of the photo because there's nothing else really in the photo. Okay, so by completely filling that frame, even cropping out some of the edge details, there's no doubt that, for example, that lion, the expression on the lion is what he was after. That's a great expression. Okay. The symmetry of Notre Dame is what he was after. It fills the whole frame. He's got just a little bit of trees on the left and right. That provides some framing. Again, these things all start to combine. But there's no doubt that the details of that architecture are what he's trying to tell us. We're supposed to look at everything in detail about that picture. Okay. So that's the idea of filling the frame. The second idea, which seemingly contradicts it, is leaving negative space. Okay. So the last one was about filling the frame. Here, by leaving negative space. Okay. And this is Shiva. Okay. So even though Shiva dominates the frame, okay, there's all this negative space. Okay. And it's almost like the emptiness of the rest of that space makes the subject more important. Okay. But it's important to note that negative space is empty space. You can't create negative space out of a busy background. You can, but it's tricky. It has to be something like a repeating pattern that kind of your brain can separate that into white noise. Okay. But generally speaking, if you're trying to use a negative space technique, then you want to use a very empty, non-busy background. Okay. So those are our two techniques that we're going to focus on today. Okay. Negative space and filling the frame. Seemingly contradictory, but I'll show you how we use that. Okay. Just for fun, I'm going to go back to my images that I took that are going up, the new ones. Okay. We're going to start here. Okay. Here, I used negative space and leading lines. I've got a leading line going up the shadow, leading up to the statue. The statue itself is a leading line. Okay. And then I've got the negative space of the sky and the brightness of the sun to really pull your focus up to what is really a small element of that picture, which is the statue of Nike at the top. Okay. So that's a good example of negative space. Okay. This, I could have cropped a couple different ways. Here I've used the negative space of the yellow wall because I really liked that yellow wall. But I could have cropped it much tighter and just filled the frame with that one flower. I sort of do, okay? But I've used the aperture of my camera, okay, to blur the background so that it, even though that's busy, I think it's ice plant behind there, because I've used the aperture and it all becomes just soft nothingness, okay, I can get that to be negative space. The next one, this is fill the frame. Okay, and just this one stand of cattails. I wanted you to look at the cattails, and that's all I put in there is the cattails. So this is fill the frame. And I had not looked at the lesson before I selected these pictures this week, just to let you know. And the last one is kind of negative space. This is more foreground. Okay, we talked about the technique of putting objects in the foreground to provide perspective and lead your eye back to that big tree, which is the main subject of the picture. Okay. But there is a lot of negative space. Okay. The empty darkness of the night. Ah, the empty darkness of the night. God, that sounds like we could create a horror story, just starting with that line, the empty darkness of the night. I'll take submissions all week, next 2 weeks. If you all submit stories about the empty darkness of the night, I'll read them next time. Part of our gala anniversary special, celebrating the empty darkness of the night. God, that sounds depressing. So that's what, so that is just going over the pictures that I'm bringing in and sort of pointing out some of these composition techniques that I use to create the pictures that I create. So next, we've done, right? We showed you the pictures. We cheated. We just showed you the pictures again. Snuck that right in there, didn't I? And we did a lesson. We learned about filling the frame and negative space. We learned that in 2 weeks, we're going to be doing this again, and it's the 1-year anniversary Sunday Morning Live with Ron. We learned that on April 1st, we're going to be drawing for Wall of Green. We learned that this afternoon, Ron's going to be photographing the photographers at a protest photo shoot in Oakland. 2 of them, actually. We got lots of 2s this week. 2 weeks, 2 techniques, 2 protest photos. And now we just have the 3rd thing to do, which is to move outside and demonstrate, fill the frame and negative space with my camera out there. Now, I still have not found out what I have to do. I'll warn you ahead of time. I still have not found out what I have to do in order, when I'm hooked up like this, to stream it live, in order to be able to see the picture live on the back of my camera at the same time. So each time I change my shot, you will go dark, the back of my camera will light up, I will frame the shot, and then we'll get back on. So it's clunky, but it works. All right. I don't like the looks of that. It looks like my battery's running out. Oh, no, that's something else. All right, good. So while I move to the outside, I wish I had that in live view, though, because my backyard seems to have adopted a cat who has found a way to get under my house. And she is hanging out in my backyard. I talked to her. I've never actually approached her, and I've never been outside with her because I'm rarely outside. I'm an indoor kind of guy. But there's a kitty out here, and I expect she probably cut through while we were in the middle of our talk. You still out here, kitty? Okay, so here's our live view. This is our anonymous citrus tree. The one over here on the right is going nuts. He's just making all kinds of plants. Can I see it through here? No, I can't see anything. Here, let me pop it up so I can show you all the fruits on this tree. Okay. Let's talk about our techniques. I have limited cord space here, and it will only zoom so far. So I don't think I can use the fruit as my subject. So I'm going to come back to this tree that's closer here next to me. And first we're going to demonstrate fill the frame. All right, so I'm working on this guy right here. That's still, yep, that's still lit up. Good. Okay, let me get a picture framed up for you here. It keeps going to that mode when I plug it back in. Okay. All right. So here we are. If I would, I gotta look again. There we are. Let me lock everything down so it doesn't move again when I plug it in. There. Now you should see the live shot. Okay. And there's these new shoots coming out of the leaves there. And I have sort of filled the frame. Okay. But if I really wanted to say, no, these shoots are the bomb. All right. This is the singular subject of my picture, I would move in closer. I would re-aim my shot. All right. There he is. Okay. Now the shoots fill the frame. See how that's a different shot than the one I took earlier? That was wider. So you could see them, but it wasn't really clear just from the shot. I could have made it clear in post-processing, but it wasn't clear from the shot that the subject is these new shoots. All right. So now let's try something showing negative space to highlight. I'm just looking around to find a neutral negative space. Well, let's do this. I'm going to turn you around like this. All right. Bring things down. We're going to bring in Mr. Bunny. You all remember my friend Mr. Bunny. He's hiding over here. All right. And I certainly could fill the frame with Mr. Bunny. All right. But I want to use the negative space of that wall behind here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tripod down a couple of notches. So that we can get down to Mr. Bunny's level. Okay. Oops. You got to see my shirt. It's a good shirt. I like it. There we go. That puts us right down at Mr. Bunny's level. You keep seeing all this strange stuff. Okay. And somewhere I've come disconnected because I'm seeing things and you're not. Right? Let me get this right. Well, there it goes. There it goes. Reconnected. As soon as he reconnects, of course. Okay. So let me frame this up for negative space. It's not a great shot, but notice how even though Mr. Bunny is the subject, because he's the biggest and brightest thing, I'm using that plain wall behind him as negative space. Okay. It sort of makes him more important because there's all that other nothing behind him. You see how that works? So those are leading lines and negative spaces. Okay. I hope you all got something from our talk today. Remind you again, in 2 weeks, we're having a 1-year anniversary gala for the first anniversary of Sunday Morning Live with Ron. On April 1st, we're having our giveaway for Wall of Green. And on this afternoon, Why does that keep going to display mode like that? I hope you all saw some pictures. I really, really do hope you saw some pictures. I'll have to replay that. And if not, I'll dub over it so you can see some pictures. In the meantime, my name's Ron. I'm a photographer. I can wink with both eyes. If I do this too long, I'm just sleeping. Don't mind me. But I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I'm learning with you. Life is too fun to miss. You be good to yourself. You be kind to other people. Become the person that you would like to meet. Peace out.